Hi everyone, what up, what up? My name is Juliet Lay, and today I have the great honor to moderate this session and share space with some incredible artists. So welcome to the Arts and Culture Showcase Part 3, Day 2, for us, by us. And you know when there are just folks that just show up so authentically themselves that you just feel safe to show up as yourself? So that's this group of people right here. And I'm just really thrilled to be sharing space with some really, really cool human beings today. So a little bit about myself. I am joining from the land of the Coast Salish and Duwamish territories, also known as Seattle, Washington. Shout out to my Seattle natives. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a first generation daughter to immigrant and refugee parents with ancestral roots in Vietnam and Martinique, which is a French republic in the Caribbean. And during this pandemic, I learned more about my people and who my grandfather was than I ever knew before. And so this is personally exciting for me to share. A lot was lost during the Vietnam War, and so what my family carries forward are mostly stories and memories that have been passed down. So the more we know about where we come from and all of the people that have come before us, in order for us to be here in this very moment, is everything. So I come from a lineage of migration, colonization, trauma, but I also come from a community of healers, my mom's best bowl of pho, and an abundance of music and dance that has kept me going. So let's get to it. A little bit about context to this session and how it came to be. When we first brainstormed what this session and what this showcase could look like, we were thinking, oh, how cool would it be if we had a musical kind of performance, but on top of somebody who was dancing in real time, but then on top of someone who was creating and painting. But then, when we're like kind of brainstorming and all of these things are getting thrown out there at the same time, and we're like, whoa, that's a lot. So is it really possible for us to do something like this? And on top of it being a virtual event, right? So it was kind of very much of an exploratory showcase and really creation in real time. We really didn't know how this was going to turn out to be, but I'm just so stoked that y'all are here today and that you will get to see some incredible art that was being created for this very summit. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce y'all to Ahame Fule, who is the mastermind behind this musical piece, which really laid the groundwork and foundation to this entire showcase. Ahame Fule is a Seattle-based musician, composer, comic, and writer. He spent 13 years as a trumpeter and a founding member of the groundbreaking jazz quartet. As a writer and performer, he has been featured on This American Life and has created 2 musicals, not one, 2 musicals, both of which completed critically acclaimed runs at the Public Theater in New York City. So without further ado, welcome to the space, Ahame Fule. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Please share a little bit about yourself and would like to just know about your creative process.
Yeah, thank you so much, Juliet. My name is Ahame Fule Oluo. I go by they, them, he, him. Anything's fine. I was born in Texas, but I moved to Seattle when I was 1 month old. So I'm a pretty much lifelong Seattleite. I work mostly in the realms of music and comedy. My background is as a musician and composer, and as a stand-up comic. I started doing stand-up comedy when I was about 22, and I'm almost 40 now. So it's been
what?
Yeah, it's been
Don't
a little.
tell
them. But those are my music and comedy are my 2 great loves, and I've dedicated most of my career to finding different ways to combine those things in a way that keeps the artistic integrity of both mediums, and keeps what is unique about both of them, but shares both of them from a singular perspective. So that's been kind of carving out my niche in whatever that world that is has been kind of my artistic mission. Music is my first love. Playing the trumpet is the first form of expression that really captured me. And so I've worked as a trumpet player since I started playing gigs when I was about 15 or 16. Been working ever since. You know, I'm a father. I have two daughters. I had my first child when I was 19, and so I have a 20-year-old daughter and an 18-year-old daughter, who are incredible human beings and a huge focus of my life. And yeah, I'm just, you know, here feeling grateful that I get to do what I love doing, and that I'm surrounded by people that mean so much to me.
Thank you for that. We are so grateful to have you in this space, because literally you are a gift. You were the first person that came to mind when we said, who can really create literally magical music? And that is you, Hamefule. So
thank you.
We're gonna do a little sneak preview, a 1-minute preview of the work that Hamefule made for us today, and then get into it. So if we can show that right now, that would be amazing. Oh no, y'all got a teaser. Teaser. That is a little snippet. So let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Hamefule. So we know, right, there was only one prompt to this kind of session, and that was, what would the world be like if there was true social justice and equity, and how would that feel like? So what was your inspiration kind of behind this process?
Well, I mean, so one of the things that I love about, you know, working in both comedy and music is I really love the strengths and the weaknesses of each form. You know, music can pick up where words fail, and words can, you know, can be so meaningful and so powerful. So, you know, working off of this prompt musically, you know, when I do anything like that, I actually try to really just internalize the feeling and then go. I don't normally try and be like, well, this symbolizes that and that symbolizes that, because I think that what's so beautiful about music is you don't need to know why something means something. You know, so, you know, I really, you know, sorry if this is a boring answer, but you know, behind the process, I just like sat with it for a second, and then I started. So that's
what's literally coming out from your body and from your just intuition, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I think it might have been like I'd worked on kind of I'd worked on a concept a little bit before, you know, like when we first started thinking about it, just like I'd practiced and kind of had some idea of you know, musically what I was going to do, but really I just tried to be in that space of equity and freedom, and you know, there is something about doing solo work, where
tell us about that, the solo work, and where you the space you were in.
So I was in my wife's family's cabin, where it's kind of like a spiritual home for me. You know, we've been together a really long time, and that's just that cabin's been in her family a really long time. And I built a recording studio out there, that, I work out of a lot, and is really an important kind of sacred place to me. And I feel incredibly fortunate to be able to go there. But that was in the kind of the main part of the cabin in the Hood Canal, in the water here in Seattle. Yeah, I mean, it seemed like the place to do it. I don't know. You know, I go off of, you know, just emotional impulses a lot, and like try not to second guess, and you know.
Well, you know what? You were tapped into nature, tapped into our ancestors, and
yeah,
it was a gift. So
thank
you for sharing that with us.
No, thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Well, we are gonna, so y'all, just for your information, we are waiting for the whole compilation at the end. Y'all gonna have to wait till the end to see this. But next up, we're gonna bring up Tracy Wong, who I hold near and dear to my heart. Tracy Wong is a queer Chinese American dancer, educator, and community space holder. She was born in Duwamish Land, Seattle, South End, shout out South End, by her loving refugee and immigrant parents. And she is just out here representing the community, y'all. Every time I see her in space, I just like feel so inspired by Tracy. And so Tracy was out here last year for the summit. And so it's great to have you back. Welcome to the space.
Thank you, Juliet. Thank you for the sweet words. And I'm looking in the chat. Southend, what's up, y'all? Hi, Erica. Thanks for the love, Danny. Yes, Cece.
What up? So Tracy, tell us a little bit about yourself, and yeah, just some inspiration behind your dance. What moves you with this?
Okay, a little bit about myself. My name's Tracy, she, her, my pronouns. I love boba. I love visiting the CID all the time. I love the South End. I love my family, and I love to dance. That's a little bit about me. My inspiration for dance is, sorry, there's sirens coming right now. But my inspiration for dance, I think the very first time I truly felt free was in my family's home. The first time I felt free to just like dance, to sing, to just be. And I think that just translates and carries with me wherever I go. So lots of love to my family. And Juliet, when you were sharing about how your family were refugees from Vietnam, same here with my family. They were refugees from the Vietnam War. And I feel like there's so many stories in my body that are passed down from me from our whole entire lineage. Even if we don't know the stories, it's still in us. So a lot of my inspiration from dance is just living and being for all of the lost stories that we might have, but also understanding that it's still in me. I don't think I was gonna cry or
That's
get
beautiful. No, let's take a moment. Let's breathe through that one. Yeah, it's a lot. We're carrying a lot, and your dance has been so inspiring. I mean, I can just speak to this from witnessing every time you share your dance. It is literally, I can feel it in my body, and I can feel me being a little bit more free. So you are a blessing. You're a real blessing, Tracy. So with that, let's show a snippet of Tracy's gift to us and go from there. Thank you, Tracy. Y'all drop the mic. Drop the mic. I've watched it so many times, and every time it gets me. It's so beautiful. Thank you for that.
Thank
So
you.
let's talk about that. The space, the inspiration, the music, everything. What was it like for you?
Yeah, so that prompt, I felt feelings of like overwhelm when trying to answer it because I just started journaling. That was the first thing I did. And when I was journaling, I was like, okay, so systemically we need to like normalize accountability, have grace, also have access for like the BIPOC community, like capitalism, individualism, like take down perfectionism, all the characteristics of white supremacy. And then I was like, oh, this is like kind of a lot. But then I just kind of sat with my journal prompt and how I felt about it. And then same with similar to Ahame Fule, just letting it sit and feeling it in my body and being like, okay, so how does that feel? If these are like the ideas, how does that feel in my body? And I think words that came up for me is it's a lot of pain and grieving, and also it feels like overwhelming, that first feeling I had. And it's also moving from that into like safety, into feeling like you belong and you have a place in this world for everyone, including like nature, and for all of us to have access to that, especially for BIPOC folks. And I think just like reflecting back with my family, it's like a lot of their lives was outside in nature, but it's interesting because they come here for a better life, but they have zero access to nature or zero empowerment to that. So what does that mean for me to be in nature, to do this piece, to be there by myself and to feel safe as a person of color in like a hella white community that used to be on indigenous land. And yeah, I feel like healing is just painful, but I feel like that going through that pain and moving towards belonging, safety, access, accountability, all of that I think is so important. So I think a word that came for me is harmony. Being able to be in harmony with the music. So listening to what Ahame Fule was trying to say with the music and meeting them halfway versus me being like, these are my ideas and I'm gonna just like eat the music with it, but being able to be in this symbiotic relationship with the music, be in this symbiotic relationship with nature, and to acknowledge and be present with where I'm at. So yeah, keywords for me was being in harmony with one another, being to empathize with one another, and with that, not feeling trapped anymore, not feeling limited, but feeling free to truly be.
God. Woo! Thank you so much, Tracy. I'm literally trying to hold back my tears. I watched this so many times, and I think the first time I watched it, I just was laying in my bed and I was like just in tears because it was so powerful. It was so powerful, and I felt the energy through that, and it was like a transfer. It was a real transfer of energy. And so just thank you for the gift. Thank you for sharing your story. It's real. And also when I saw that you were by the ocean and like outside just doing your thing, that like I could breathe easier. I could breathe easier, and I could be like, wow, she is in her full power right now. And I feel like I'm in my full power just watching this. So you are a reflection of me and I'm a reflection of you, and we are one.
Yes to all of that. Yeah, when I watch others just be fully themselves, I'm like, yes, I can just be too. Yeah. And it's so empowering to just see like folks of color just being and like taking up space.
Just be. I love it. Thank you so much, Tracy.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. We're not even done yet. Okay, next up, I have the honor to bring up to the space Troy Osaki. What up, Troy? Hey.
What's up? What's going on?
What's good? Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So a little bit, I'm gonna just do a little intro, but would love to hear a little bit about yourself. But Troy Osaki born and raised in Seattle, Filipino Japanese poet, community organizer, and attorney. Y'all, jack of all trades, a 3-time Grand Slam poetry champ, and he has earned fellowships from the Jack Straw Cultural Center, and his work has appeared in the Bello Poetry Journal, Tinderbox Poetry Journal, and Poetry Northwest. He writes and hopes to build a safe and just place to live in by uniting the people and reimagining the world through poetry. So give it up, y'all. Give it up. What's up, Troy?
What's up?
So share a little bit about yourself. We've been in community a little bit together, but this is the first time kind of where we get to partner together. So I'm just grateful for you, and just want to hear about your poetry process and how that goes for you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you. I mean, thank you for reaching out. Thank you for having me here at the Seattle Equity Summit, and particularly this session. I'm super hyped about. Again, I'm Troy. He, him pronouns, born and raised in Seattle. Fun facts. I like that we were doing this. My favorite road here is Lake Washington Boulevard. I don't know if folks, have gone on it, but if you're not from Seattle, it's just this boulevard that follows the lake from like the south end of the lake to like the north end of the lake. And it's really beautiful. And I started writing poetry in kind of like seriously in high school. I went to Garfield High School. So I think another fun fact, Tracy and I got to grow up together in middle school and high school. And I've gotten to watch her develop as like a human being and a dancer. And it's just been really inspiring. But for my creative process, I think, over time it's developed. But right now, I think my process is really very much driven by by the organizing work that I participate in. And so I'm a member of an organization called Anakbayan Seattle. We're a Filipino political fighting organization working towards national democracy in the Philippines, which breaks down into fighting for genuine sovereignty and genuine freedom for the Filipino people. But more broadly, talking about globally, we're really interested in seeing countries that are still semi-colonies to be freed from their oppressors and for there to be sustainable livelihood in the homeland so that people don't have to migrate out. And so for me, I just feel like art has this really incredible power to shift culture and to change hearts and minds. And as we reimagine a new world through art, I think it's very important that we also participate in ensuring that it becomes a reality. And so I think art has this really incredible power to like spark that drive to go do that. I really appreciate what Hamefule was saying. What I pulled out was this way that music and poetry and dance and painting and all the different art forms can convey emotional truth. It doesn't need to tell you what to do. It can just show you through emotion. And I think that is really powerful and does a lot of heavy lifting for a lot of people. And it did for me. And so I'm hoping that I can help in some small way to make, the world a better place by doing that for others, if possible.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Troy. All right, without further ado, I know we're a little bit with the time, so we're gonna show Troy a snippet of Troy's poetry, and then move on. Thank you, Troy.
Here, every detention center demolished. In its place, a really good dance floor. Every mother separated from her child is now not. We've disarmed the state, strung up its rifles, made wind chimes of its weapons. Each song sounds like ceasefire, a chorus of checkpoints undoing themselves. The only bullet left spins in reverse, and all the corpses with holes come back to us. Here, Every auntie forced overseas to find work returns home. And when they do,
dang, I wanted to finish it out. Oh, power.
mid-sentence.
Everyone wants to finish it out. All right, y'all gonna have to wait till the end, but thank you for that gift, Troy. And we are gonna move on to Damasio. Damasio in the house. From
What up,
DC.
though?
What up, what up?
What up, though?
Thank you for joining. Damasio, the genesis of a Southwest Detroit sensory architect appealing to his audience mind, body, soul, and through visual and phonic artistry. And let's get to it. Damasio, can you share your creative process and what was it like as a painter to be in this space?
Yeah, my creative process, a lot of times, is just going into it. I have this saying, just jump into it. You know, even though if I don't know what I'm going to do, I feel like an aspect of being an artist is letting the work build itself and me just there to guide it, you know, in ways that I feel fit. Going into this piece, I definitely wanted to do more of a spear, as people see in my paintings, just because of the concept of equity and sharing resources and having everybody take their fair share, you know, and being able to share spaces together like we are in the video from different parts of the world and show our talents and show our crafts. I feel like that played a big part into like going into the painting of how I was going to portray that. So
beautiful,
yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. So, well, without further ado, let's just share it. Let's just share that piece. Let's do it. Oh man, the sneak previews be messing me up. I want to keep watching.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Damasio.
Thank you.
So I know, so we're at time check. So I think we're gonna come back as a collective to be able to talk a little bit more about your process and a little bit more into your painting. But we're gonna show the full thing, y'all. We're gonna do it right now. Full compilation. Shout out to Wallace on the back end tech team for making this come to life. So let's get it.
Here, every detention center demolished. In its place, a really good dance floor. Every mother separated from her child is now not. We've disarmed the state, strung up its rifles, made wind chimes of its weapons. Each song sounds like ceasefire, a chorus of checkpoints undoing themselves. The only bullet left spins in reverse, and all the corpses with holes come back to us. Here, every auntie forced overseas to find work returns home. And when they do, they have something to return home to. Foreign corporations are evicted, and the brightest crops since colonization bloom. even the massive hole that held a mosque before the airstrike holds a mosque again. Here, no nation occupies another nation. Military bases are sunken lands, and armored cars rust below the ocean. Drones are scraps of unflyable metal, each one reimagined as a spaceship by every child it couldn't kill. Lorena blurts out a brilliant smile. Andres's chest is full of chuckles, and the shiny slide they're racing to is made of melted down tanks. Something, not a word, is taking their breath away now. We say cage and forced removal, meaning what no one has ever seen. Ice is a memory's memory. Every generation whispers its name softer than the last yesterday. I roamed the Seattle Public Library, learned all of what the old world couldn't keep alive. The deportation hearing, the no-fly list, the interrogation room, wherever it is. Outside is a museum of ashes. Everything we incinerated to get here is on display. And we've saved enough space in case we ever have to scorch the bones of something else again. Here in the new world, we laugh. And this time, we mean it. Thank you, everyone.
Straight power.
That was tough.
Fire. Fire. I can't. Y'all, literally, y'all just did that. Y'all just made that and it just combined. Like, I can't even wrap my head around this. Thank you so much for that. Can we spotlight everybody so that they're all up here at the same time? Yay, thank you, thank you. Y'all, I'm just so curious. What was it like for y'all to watch it as a, like, you know, y'all made your piece, but then watching it as a collective for you, what was that like?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I thought it was great. It could have been a mess. Like, it could have gone awry, but I think that there's something about, really good artists that they leave space for other people and for nothing. They leave space. You know, space is an important part of everyone's work, and I think that space worked really well together in that context.
Mhm.
I also think that like he said, like everybody being so good is like we're able to trust each other, you know.
Yeah.
I trust that everybody's gonna be you know what I mean, do it to the best of their abilities, you feel me?
And y'all, not everybody knew each other too. So
No.
we all just creatives coming together and doing their thing. That happened. We have about a few minutes left, so I want to leave y'all with one question, and we'd love to do a little round and hear from each of y'all. So the last thing is, what has been one lesson that your art has taught you, and what do you want folks here at the Seattle Equity Summit to really leave with? What's one thing that y'all want them to hear? And we can start with Troy.
Yeah, I love these questions. Something art has taught me. Just the importance of it. I think that's like reflected in the session here today. And it's able to bring people together. And I think it actually leads into my second answer of the second question. But my hope is to like take the feelings of what the art brings to us and then to put it into action. I think that's my hope for everyone who is able to to hear these pieces. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the simple answer for me is art has taught me everything that I know, and it's taught me more than anything like the true meaning of humility. Where I think a lot of people, especially from a European standing, think of humility as like never say anything good about yourself, never act like you know that you're special in any kind of way, and I don't. And to me, that's not the kind of humility I'm interested in. To me, art has always been a thing where whatever I put into it, I get more out of it. Yeah. And you know, when you have something like that in your life, whether it's a relationship or whether it's anything where you can pour everything that you have into something and it will give you more back. That to me, that's a kind of humility that I'm interested in, because there's a gratefulness. You know, I'm eternally grateful that things like that exist, and then I get to see where that exists in other parts of my life, in my relationships with people, in all the work that I do. Try and find that same thing that art has taught me.
Art transcends everything. Everything. Thank you. Tracy, how about you?
Yeah, I think, can you repeat the question for me one more?
Yes, I can. What's one lesson that art has taught you? I mean, maybe even particularly during this time, this pandemic, we all been through so much. So what's one thing that you've taken away from your own art? And what do you want folks here to leave with?
Thank you. Something that art has taught me is connection and trust is such a important foundation in order to grow, in order to realize the world that we want to see, especially if we want to do it together. When you do art, it's so much vulnerability and so much of giving your full self to the other person. And I think that in itself is something so beautiful that just continues to build and grow and transform. I think something I would love folks to take away is, I think it's important for BIPOC folks to enjoy, to create, to take up space in your creation. And that in itself is radical resistance.
Period. We're taking it back. We're taking it all back. Thank you, Tracy. Last but not least, Damasio.
Yeah.
Some wisdom.
I feel like in all seriousness, art has just taught me how to flow in life, just to be patient when it's time, and then to go with the motion, and to learn how to work with others and feel, like it's opened me up a lot. And I'm very grateful for it, because, a lot of times, even me being a painter, like I get looked at weird because, you know, I like to paint, and that's not what you're usually supposed to do in a capitalistic society, you know, if you think about becoming. So I just feel like it's opened me up a lot, and I'm here on a panel with other great artists, you know what I mean? So I'm following the flow of it, and I'm loving it. I think one thing to take away from all of us is just, you know what I mean, do what makes you feel good. You know, I feel like we all have a passion to like release something sometimes, and that's how we get to these points of life where a painter, a musician, a poet, and a dancer could come together. So just, you know what I mean, like we're not here for a long time, so do what makes you feel good for real, and you know.
Real. Yes. And y'all know, like, coming from what we come from white dominant culture, and so we often intellectualize everything all the time, and so being able to see y'all be in your bodies and just create and just be, like, that is a revolutionary act in and of itself. So I just want to give y'all just all of the props. This was a creation and experiment, and y'all just made magic. So thank you to each and every one of y'all for being here today.
Thank you so
Much
much.
love.
Thank you all, for real. This is beautiful.
And that's a wrap.
I'm like, do I come back yet? Y'all, that was so fire. Juliet, thank you. Troy, Damasio, Tracy, Ahame Kule, amazing. I mean, it's just like Juliet said, we're throwing out ideas, like, and you know, when you get silly at the end of the day, can this really happen? And it could have been a whole big ass mess. So thank you for that, Mekule. You were on it. Oh Lord, we was like, what are we thinking? And then, man, these folks just pulled it together, and the tech team. Damn, Wallace, like, thanks y'all. So this was dope as hell, right? Like, come on. Can we just come off mute for a minute, and can everybody just give some applause out loud, please? Thank you, because this was just fire, and just we've watched it so many times, and you know, I made my kids watch. I'm like, you gotta watch this, because my kids love music too, and but just. It's like this anchor piece of the summit of what art can do in all its different forms, and how everything and everyone, all of us, are connected. So we cannot forget that. So thanks to y'all for reminding us of that. Our stories are in the art. Damn, it's just crazy. So make sure you continue to check out the virtual art market. So please go and check that out. Make sure you engage on the platform, who below. Can we have a replay? I know, right? You know what? Tech team, can we just show it one more time, and people can leave if they want, but we can just show the video one more time as soon as I get off here. Okay. Thank you, Danny. Okay. We'll see if we can do it, y'all. We got a lot of moving pieces. And we have, this is like your lunch break now if you're on Pacific time. I don't even know what time it is here. It's almost 3:00 Eastern time. So we will come back for the next session. Let me see. I believe it is, trying to scroll up. Yeah, we start back at 3:30. So at 3:30 will be 3:30 Eastern time, 12:30 Pacific time. That'll be our first breakout sessions. So please come back in about 45 minutes, get your breaks, have some water or whatever you would like to have, and come back. And remember, please engage in the virtual art market and on Hoobelo, on the Hoobelo platform. So reach out, get to meet some folks on there. Y'all can chat, you can go in the lounge, do all the things. But we will see you back here in 45 minutes. So remember, 12:30 Pacific time, 3:30 Eastern time. So see y'all soon. Have a good break. Peace out.
Here, every detention center demolished. In its place, a really good dance floor. Every mother separated from her child is now not. We've disarmed the state, strung up its rifles, made wind chimes of its weapons. Each song sounds like ceasefire, a chorus of checkpoints undoing themselves. The only bullet left spins in reverse, and all the corpses with holes come back to us. Here, every auntie forced overseas to find work returns home. And when they do, they have something to return home to. Foreign corporations are evicted, and the brightest crops since colonization bloom. Even the massive hole that held a mosque before the airstrike holds a mosque again. Here, no nation occupies another nation. Military bases are sunken lands, and armored cars rust below the ocean. Drones are scraps of unflyable metal, each one reimagined as a spaceship by every child it couldn't kill. Lorena blurts out a brilliant smile. Undress's chest is full of chuckles, and the shiny slide they're racing to is made of melted down tanks. Something, not a war, is taking their breath away now. We say cage and forced removal, meaning what no one has ever seen. Ice is a memory's memory. Every generation whispers its name softer than the last yesterday. I roamed the Seattle Public Library, learned all of what the old world couldn't keep alive. The deportation hearing, the no-fly list, the interrogation room, wherever it is. Outside is a museum of ashes. Everything we incinerated to get here is on display. And we've saved enough space in case we ever have to scorch the bones of something else again. Here in the new world, we laugh. And this time,